down the South Coast, where it is the pinnacle of fishing in KZN right now.
Some really nice bottoms, some really good dogger, keelback, and some really good slingers and soldiers.
Not to be outshone, the Midlands bass are also very much in the game.
But Margate Pier, the old girl, definitely producing the goods again.
There you go, buddy. Hit now!
This is the Angler News SA podcast. I'm Vanessa Green.
Hello, KZN. What a week it has been. You know what? It's been a week that has reminded me why I love the sport so much. Because despite the wind, despite the rain, despite the challenges that anglers were facing in KZN this week, they have delivered and they have reminded us that we will find the fish. Now, in this week's report, we are going to talk about the Garrick, the brusher, the cob, the tuna, the kuta, the jaw-dropping bass, right? I mean, we are talking about all of this fish, which we never thought we were going to see with the conditions that we were challenged with this week. So sit back, relax, get ready for it, because our reporters has the lowdown with all this week's hottest feeding zones. And you know what? This weekend is looking shanana to be a lot better. Before we get into it, a huge shout out to our sponsors that make all of this possible, the Kingfisher.
The Kingfisher are the leading fishing tackle specialist. We stock gear for every facet of fishing, from carp to kuta, marlin to trout. Basically, everything. We have stores across KZN, from Toti to Salt Rock, Durban to Pietermaritzburg. You can also find us online at kingfisher.co.za.
Thank you, the Kingfisher. Now let's get into the business and let's get into why you are here, right? You want to know where the fish is. You want to know where all the action is. Well, we are going to give it to you, starting off down the South Coast, where it is the pinnacle of fishing in KZN right now. Guys, this is where all the action is in abundance, right? I mean, yes, there are fish elsewhere on the coastline, but nothing like the South Coast. So let's start it off. Let's start off with Adam telling us exactly what's going on down there.
Good day, Vanesh. So things have been fairly decent or good or exciting, however you want to put it, down on the lower South Coast recently. I would say pick of the spots. I would definitely say Sandspit. The guys are getting some nice cob there on paddletail and live baits. But Margate Pier, the old girl, definitely producing the goods again. A lot of big mullet around there at the moment, and that's why we are surefire seeing Garrick at Margate Pier, and predominantly on live baits. Very nice size Garrick popping up there recently. I wouldn't say in huge amount of numbers, but the guys are definitely catching. That is for sure. Now, in terms of normal rock and surf fishing, just off the rocks, guys fishing for rockfish like your bronze bream, your blacktail, the guys have been rewarded with some very nice fish. There's been quite a few sort of smaller rock cod popping up here and there, but it's definitely been decent. Most of our rivers are still open, and obviously that brown water is mixing in certain patches, but that has not deterred the fish from biting. It seems like maybe the sand is just puffing around on the top, but underneath fairly clean. We are sitting with a sort of a fluctuation in terms of water temperature at the moment. So guys, if you can find the right hole, you will definitely pull a fish. That is for sure, Vinesh. Now, if you guys want to go and target your better live fish on your live baits, your deeper water spots are definitely going to be the place to be. There's also been a few sharks around with a few small greys popping up here and there. So things have been good. In terms of our rivers, however, it has been exciting. It's good to see the pike back on the bite again. The guys are catching some kingies, some cob in our rivers. So it's definitely been, I would say, a productive week, Vinesh. Now, I know we've had loads of rain and obviously the rivers have affected it, but the fish are there, Vinesh. So, yeah, it's definitely been decent down here. In terms of spinning, it's been a little bit of a hit and miss. There's still the odd big blue shad around, but guys, again, please remember it is close season. So, yeah, there's definitely something for everyone down on the coast at the moment. The deep sea side of things, it's been fairly decent. The guys obviously are getting yellowtail. There's been a few tuna around. Bottom fishing's been fairly okay. Definitely, I know there's a bit of back and whatnot, but not as good, I would say, as Durban.
Adam Lyon, Angler News SA, Lower South Coast.
Adam, what a way to start off the show. Absolutely brilliant, guys. I told you South Coast is the place to be. Absolutely epic fishing happening down there right now. Now, let's see what's happening. When I said down there, let's go down there. Let's go right underwater with Don Solomon.
Over the weekend, there was a bit of clean water around, very patchy. Very few guys got in. There was a nice wind gap, but yeah, the water wasn't quite right. Some guys jumped in, very poor viz, like maybe 3 to 4 meter viz, although the swell was nice and flat. The odd Garrick was seen, a couple of spotted grunter was seen, but very low catches, just not enough visibility. Too much wind and swell. If it's not wind one day, it's swell the next. So it's really difficult to get a gap in the water. Now, this whole week so far, lots and lots of rain. The rivers on the South Coast are flowing. Nothing too hectic, but enough to make the inshore undivable. And probably out to like about just past the shark nets. Very greeny brown. So yeah, I don't see any diving inshore for a while. There's a few wind gap days during the week, so there might be the odd chance for the guys that want to take a chance on the boat. So looking ahead to the weekend, also maybe a weather gap on the weekend, but I just don't see the conditions coming. Maybe if there's a really strong north-south current, we might get some of the clean water that's sitting out in the deep. So yeah, spearfishing front, very quiet. And I think over the next couple of weeks, it's going to be pretty quiet. Yeah, this is what we have to deal with. As always, we are ready. Spears are sharp, rubbers are ready. Don Solomon from the Hibiscus Underwater Club for Angling News South Africa.
Thank you, Don. Oh, yes, we will be ready. We are definitely going to be ready. Maybe not so much on that underwater side, but rock and surf side, we certainly will be. Now, we do not have Ray Thompson for this week. He is terribly ill from the flu. In fact, I spoke to him, kind of disturbed him while he was having a bit of a rest, and he was sounding as rough as a bear. So we wish you a speedy recovery. However, I did manage to squeeze in a bit of a report from him, and he says there has been a bit of grey shark activity down at Scottborough where the guys were being protected from the wind, but apart from that, it's just been scratching species that has been coming out more on that rock species side of fishing. So yeah, you know what, I think this week is going to be better out there. We will be back with better reports, and so will Ray Thompson. So for now, let's move on to the freshwater side before we get that back down to the North Coast and to Durban. We are talking to Jan, where there has been some good activity on the freshwater side, and that is something to really consider when these conditions are not so much in your favor on the coastline. Well, unless you're in Margate, perhaps try your hand on some freshwater action. This is what you can expect from it.
Hey there, guys. As we reported last week, summer has landed, and the Midlands has received some decent soft soaking rain, and I'm happy to report that the level 4 storm warning hasn't materialized. After a surge from the initial rains, the rivers have dropped off nicely, and the fish are on their game. The beats of the Natal Fly Fishers Club on the Bushmans and Mooirabs have showed off some good fish, with anglers fishing the classic hopper-dropper pattern, with fish looking up and either taking the hopper or taking the dropper subsurface. Biggest fish reported in the last week taped into the 13 to 15 inch or 33 to 38 centimeter bracket, which took a dry. Very nice fishing indeed. The fish in the NFFC still waters are also in party mode, with rainbows taping in through to the 19 to 21 inch or 48 to 53 centimeter brackets. Not to be outshone, the Midlands bass are also very much in the game, with both Albert Falls and Midmar producing good numbers of fish on a mixture of reaction lures and soft plastics. A number of other species also fishing very well in the area. Barbel at Albert Falls and excellent carp both at Albert's and at Midmar. Scalies are also in the action, with some good fish reported from Midmar and further afield at the Tugela River. The rains will have put the damper on the Sterkfontein yellowfish for the time being, but the action will heat up again as soon as there's a spell of clear sunny days. Guys, do stop in the Kingfisher Maritzburg for the best in tackle advice. And this is Jan reporting for Angler News South Africa from the Midlands.
Jan, you absolute legend. Now, guys, I want to tell you something about Jan, right? I've done probably about 300 podcasts already. And you know what? Here's the crazy thing, right? I mean, this is what's so amazing. This is the first time I've actually met Jan in person. I met him last week. We hung out for a bit, and I found something that I never knew about him. This guy is going to go do a 48-hour run this weekend. You know what? So hats off to you. Hands up. You know what? Oh, God be with you, in my opinion. But, you know, he has done it before. He's going to do it again. It's a 160-kilometer trail run, right? It's something I haven't heard of, but it's a thing. It's a real thing. So he's not just an amazing fisherman in the Midlands. He also runs up and down the Midlands. So I can't wait to hear more about it when he comes back, and he will be back next week. So, Jan, all the best to you, my friend. You're an absolute legend in our book. Now let's get back down to the coastline. Let's talk about the North Coast, where it has been trying condition, hence not too many reports, and that's mainly on the rock and surf side. Now I know in that blacktail Tugela area, the guys were getting the odd carp. There has been a couple shad coming out. Let's remind you guys, shad season is closed, but I do know the guys that did pull out the shad sincerely told me they did put it back, right? I mean, not back into the freezers, back into the ocean. So rock and surf has been pretty quiet. Not too much news out of Richards Bay this week. The Garrick seem to have quietened down. I think we are seeing the end of that run. However, if you are an offshore fisherman, this is the place to be. Firstly, we've got the Bullfish 15,000 going on, and we will be getting a lot more reports from that coming out very soon. We also have a lot of action on that Dorado side, guys. That summer fish are here. They are Dorado and Kuta. That's on the bite. The guys are bragging about it. So that's looking pretty good. So yeah, all in all, in a nutshell, if you're an offshore angler, it is absolutely fantastic up on the North Coast. Now let's get on down to Durban, where we are with Mike V and Brad Krubler with what's been going on.
As guys, the beaches were a little bit slow the last couple of days. Couple of intervals around. The Oaks got a couple stumpies, some grunters, heard of a couple small cob here and there, but nothing to scream off home about. The grey sharks were troubling the live baits here and there. Cows also got a few diamonds in the live baits. No biggies, those 10 to say 20, 25 kilo size fish. On the paddle skis and ski boat side, the Oaks have been still knocking the Garrick out. There's been quite a few Garrick caught, as well as snook. The Oaks pulling fillets for snook have been getting either or. It's been a mix and match. But I did hear that there's a couple Dorado have started coming, showing their face. A couple small yellowfins around, odd little Kuta. So it could become a decent season for the guys. So if it's starting now already, it could start up and warm up very nice. In the bay, the guys are getting some lovely grunter, some good sized cob. Quite a few snapper salmon there too. Kingies have started a little bit here and there on the banks. Folks are getting some on plastic, some on poppers, things like that. So yeah, we're just waiting for the springer to start and we should be away. Thanks guys. Hope you guys have a cracker time.
Fishing over the last week. On the inside, there have been quite a few little snook around off the Beechwood and Schlonger area. Some Garrick off the Blue Lagoon still there. They're starting to dwindle out, but yeah, there's still a few of them around. On the bottom side, there's been some really nice bottoms, some really good yellow belly rock hard, some dogger, geelbeck, and some really good slingers and soldiers. But on the positive side, the weather's been getting better and warmer. The water's got lovely and clean on the deep. And yes, guys, over the weekend, there were quite a few Dorado which were managed to be caught. So guys, summer is getting here. Time is right for the proper fish. There were also some nice yellowfin. Yeah, guys, so this is Brad for Angling News South Africa. And guys, speak to you all next week.
Thank you, Mike and Brad. What a way to end the show, guys. It was amazing. Didn't I promise you there was fish? Absolutely. Now, that was fish with those challenging conditions. Can you imagine what we are in for this weekend? Guys, the weather is looking amazing. The fishing will be going on and we will get those species coming out. The summer fish are here and we will have some bending rods and screaming reels. So get out there, get fishing, and let's see those catches. We'll be back next week with all of this weekend's action. So until then...
This is the Angler News SA podcast. I'm Vanessa Green. Find more episodes at ecr.co.za under podcasts or your favorite podcast app. Let's fish for the future.